My wife blindsided me, moved in her boss, hit me with court orders. I stayed quiet. Months later, I had custody. She had no job, no bonus, no relationship, and the whole town knew why. Hey Reddit. So my wife hit me with a protective order, moved in her boss. I stuck to the court rules. He lost his job, she lost her house, I got custody. Her is how it went down. Name's Calvin Mercer, 41. Maintenance at a manufacturing plant in Indiana, 12 years, steady pay, nothing glamorous. I'm good with tools, lousy with paperwork, and I mostly keep my head down. I married Marla Kincaid at 26. She worked admin at a medical office then, sharp with numbers, good with people. We bought a small house near my job. 3 kids came along. Eli first, then Tessa, then Rowan. Now 19, 15, and 13. Life was shifts, little league, and fixing whatever broke. Steady, if not exciting. Eli had already been born when I was 22. We married 4 years later. A couple years back, Marla left the medical office for an admin job at Lakeshore Realty. Lately, things felt off. No fights, just short talks about bills and schedules. When I asked what was wrong, she only said she was tired. I figured it would pass. Turns out, I was wrong. One Tuesday, I got off at 4:30 p.m., debating leftovers versus a pizza. Pulled into the driveway and my stomach dropped. 2 new plastic tubs sat on the porch. Walmart stickers still on. Inside were my boots, some shirts, my tools. My fishing rods leaned beside them. At the curb, a locksmith's van idled with the side door open. I walked up slow because what else do you do? The front door opened and there was Marla. Tight ponytail, work clothes, expression like she was reading a script. "Calvin," she said, flat as a bank teller. "You can't come in. This is temporary." I must have looked like I didn't understand English, because she sighed and handed me papers. 90-day protective order. I couldn't enter the house or come within so many feet without prior written permission from Marla. Contact with the kids had to be arranged through her first. I read the first paragraph twice and looked up. "What is this?" I asked. She said something about needing space and better for everyone right now. Wouldn't meet my eyes. The kids weren't there. "Where are they?" I asked. "At my sister's for the night," she said. The locksmith stepped out then, keys jingling, waiting on me to leave so he could swap the locks. I put the papers in my truck and just sat there with my hands shaking. No plan, so I called my cousin Nate. He runs a garage across town. I told him what happened. He gave me a lawyer's number, Dana Whitcomb. Said she was tough as nails but fair. I called her right there in the driveway. She picked up, told me to come by in the morning. Calm voice like this was a Tuesday for her. "You follow every line of that order exactly," she said after I explained. "Don't try to talk to your wife in person. Don't go near that house without written permission. Not verbal, written. If she forgets or refuses, you stay away. Stay." Judges extend these for the smallest slip. Give them none. So that was that. I drove to Nate's, hauled my bins inside, and crashed on his couch. I didn't sleep much. I read the order 3 times, made a folder on my phone to save texts and emails, wrote down call times. I wasn't letting this turn into he said, she said. Marla emailed later saying the kids could call before bed. We talked on speaker. Eli sounded confused. Tessa kept asking when I was coming home. Rowan barely said anything. I told them I loved them, and I'd see them soon, though I had no idea what soon meant. Next morning at Dana's office, she laid it out. Court dates take time. We might not see a judge before the 90 days were up. Until then, I'd be couch hopping or renting something fast. "Play it clean, Calvin," she said, sliding me a notepad. "If she forgets to send permission and you show up anyway, that's on you. If she calls screaming and you yell back, that's on you. Keep it short, keep it polite, keep it written." I nodded. Drama isn't my hobby. That first night, Marla called asking if I could watch the kids after school the next day. I said sure, just email me permission. She said okay. No email came. I stayed put. Next day, same thing. She asked. I reminded her. Nothing. By the 3rd time she forgot, she was late for work because she had to scramble for someone else to help. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't lecture. I stayed where I was told to stay. That's how it started. Me in a borrowed bedroom with a duffel of clothes, waiting on emails that didn't come, wondering how my life spun like this in 48 hours. I didn't know yet that sticking to that court order word for word was going to change everything. After that first crazy week, I treated the whole mess like work. At work, you clock in, document, keep things clean. So, I bought a cheap 3-ring binder and printed every text and email with Marla. Every missed permission, every voicemail transcript, dates, times, short notes. Judges like simple and neat, Dana said. I was building a boring paper trail. Meanwhile, I started noticing things. The neighbor across the street, old Wendell, flagged me down one evening while I waited, with emailed permission. "Hey, Calvin," he said, leaning in my window. "You moving out or something?" "Something like that," I said. He pointed toward the block. "Seen that black Toyota a lot lately. Belongs to that vendor supervisor who runs maintenance for your wife's buildings, right? The Drummond Facilities guy?" I just nodded. "Figured," he said. "Parks overnight sometimes." 2 nights later, Tessa mentioned pancakes on FaceTime. She doesn't filter much. "Mom's friend Trent makes pancakes," she said, showing me a school project. "He burned one side, though." "Yeah?" I kept my voice flat. Trent Maddox, the on-site supervisor from Drummond Facilities, had been around more, the kind of not my business I kept out of messages. "Yeah, he was here this morning." I didn't ask questions. Kids don't need to be in the middle. But the picture was clear enough. Marla wasn't just busy. She had help staying over. I stayed polite in every message. No blame. Just send the email, or, okay, let me know. Once, when she tried to argue on the phone, I told her, "Marla, I'm following what the court said. If you don't want to send permission, that's your call." She hung up. By the end of the month, Marla sounded frayed. Calls got shorter. Texts went one word. The kids said she snapped over small things. Eli, commuting to community college, started crashing more at Nate's place where I was staying. He liked the quiet. He liked that I wasn't on edge. One Tuesday, Blake Strickland, one of Trent's coworkers, texted that HR was looking at Trent for conflict of interest. Dating someone you supervise. Being late. Missing deadlines. The usual pileup. I didn't comment. Marla didn't mention it. But she did start sending the permission emails right on time after that. Later, Eli told me Trent didn't come by that weekend. Things were shifting, and I wasn't doing anything but following Dana's instructions and feeding paper into the binder. The call came the next Wednesday. Marla's voice was tight. "Drummond suspended Trent," she said. "Unpaid. Their HR's investigating." "Okay," I said. She didn't explain more. I heard the rest later from Eli. Someone told HR about Trent staying over, about him being late, about mornings Marla scrambled because I wouldn't break the order without written permission. Times, dates, it all lined up. Trent was out on leave. Marla got 2 weeks unpaid suspension for not disclosing the relationship. That night at Nate's, Eli asked me straight, "You planned this?" "No," I said. "I just didn't break the rules." And that was the truth. By the end of that week, I signed the lease on a better place. 2 bedrooms, closer to the kids' schools. Small balcony over the parking lot. Nothing fancy, but it was ours. Marla didn't say much when I told her. Maybe she had enough to handle already. Eli helped me move that weekend. He claimed the smaller bedroom without asking anyone's permission. 19, paying his own way at community college. He'd had enough of the tension at Marla's. I picked up a cheap futon off Facebook Marketplace, plates from Goodwill, and a secondhand TV. I set up a card table as a desk, screwed together 2 bookcases, and stacked my binder on the top shelf like it was a ledger for a job site. Marla didn't say much about the move. She was back at work after her unpaid leave, keeping our conversations short and strictly about the kids. Fine by me. Rowan, 13, started staying more nights, saying it was quieter here. Tessa, 15, split time evenly but leaned our way when tests piled up and she wanted the calm. Eli spent most weekdays at my place since his campus was closer, crashing at Marla's only when his early labs met near her side of town. Marla's permission emails started arriving on time now. Date, pickup spot, return time. No more scrambles. I printed each one, filed it behind a monthly divider, and kept a running index at the front. Date, subject, outcome. Any issues? Clean, simple, predictable. 2 weeks in, Dana emailed, "Court date scheduled. Status conference." She wanted every log, email, and note. I dropped off the binder in person. She flipped through, nodding as she skimmed the tabs. "This is good," she said. "Very clean. Shows you followed the order to the letter. At the conference, the judge will look for reasons to extend or narrow anything. This gives them none to extend." I didn't say much. That's why I hired her. Around then, I started hearing Trent's name tied to work issues. Not gossip, just small pieces lining up. Eli mentioned he wasn't around as much. Nate said a guy at Trent's company had heard HR is digging. At pickup, old Wendell from across the street tossed me a big meeting comment like a newspaper headline. I kept it all out of my messages with Marla. Kids first, schedules only. The status conference landed on a rainy Tuesday. The hearing room was small. Judge at a raised desk. Everyone a little damp from the weather. Judge Franklin looked older, glasses halfway down his nose, the kind of guy who lets paper do most of the talking. He leafed through Dana's copies for a long minute, then glanced at me. "Mr. Mercer," he said, "I see no violations. You complied with the protective order. You did not attend the residence without written permission, and your communications are brief and task-focused." "Yes, Your Honor," I said. He turned to Marla's attorney. "I do see multiple occasions where the mother failed to send written permission, causing childcare problems on school mornings. Is that correct?" Marla's attorney cleared his throat. "That appears correct, Your Honor." Dana stood. "We're asking for a temporary schedule to prevent further confusion. Neutral exchange location. Weekday routine with Mr. Mercer while school is in session, alternating weekends." Marla's attorney wanted to argue rigidity, but the judge just lifted a hand. "I'll enter temporary orders for neutral exchanges and a consistent school week schedule," he said. "We can revisit at the final custody hearing. No gavel bang, just a pen scratching." The clerk printed a page. Done. Not final, but the ground stopped shifting under our feet. Back at the apartment that night, we celebrated with boxed macaroni and a store-brand rotisserie chicken. I added parent-teacher nights and doctor appointments in black pen. We sent Marla the calendar by email so there was no room for "I thought it was your day." Life found a lane. Mornings ran like clockwork. I packed lunches while Eli skimmed a textbook, Tessa drilled vocab, and Rowan searched for a hoodie. After drop-offs, I worked, came home, checked for the next day's permission email, printed it, filed it. Laundry Wednesdays, trash Thursdays. Binder updated Sundays. A week later, Dana called. "Final custody hearing a few months out." "Keep doing exactly this," she said. "Judges love a routine that works." That night, Carter Vance left a voicemail. Old fishing buddy, now a private investigator. "If you want me to check into this Trent guy, say the word," he said. I saved the message but didn't call back. My job was running the house, not chasing him. School nights evened out. When Rowan's bus got mixed up one afternoon, I pulled the temporary order, checked the rules, handled it by phone. Next morning, I dropped a copy of the custody schedule at the school office. No drama, no surprises. Marla and I kept things civil at exchanges. Parking lot behind the grocery store, 2 cars, quick handoff. Homework's in the front pocket. Doctor's note is in the folder. Science fair is Thursday. Every sentence a relay baton. Nothing extra. I could tell she was tired. I didn't ask why. Near the month's close, Dana handed back my binder with 3 new tabs. Temporary orders, communications, school/medical. "Keep building the story," she said. "But keep it boring. Boring wins." On the way home, I thought about everything. Pieces were moving, but not because of me. I was just punching the clock on the life right in front of me. Work, kids, dishes, printer paper, and a calendar with more black pen lines than white space. The big stuff would come later. For now, the apartment held. The schedule held. And for the first time since the tubs on the porch, that felt like enough. EUT. After the move, we kept things basic. 2 bedrooms, mismatched furniture, kids rotating through on the schedule Judge Franklin said at the status conference. Neutral exchanges behind the grocery store, emails printed and filed, everyone breathing a little easier. I had one decent vehicle. A silver Dodge Caravan I bought when running 3 kids in a pickup stopped making sense. We called it the family van because everyone used it at some point. To keep track of the only key ring, I'd clipped an AirTag to it. Twice already it had saved us. Once when Rowan left the keys in a locker, once when Eli forgot them at a friend's house. So when Eli borrowed the van that Friday night, it was normal. He texted around midnight. He was crashing on the couch at Marla's because that section met at the North Annex by her place for a 7 a.m. lab. Fine by me. He had the keys. I had the AirTag if anything went missing. At 7 the next morning, Rowan asked if he could use the van to get to a study group. I checked the AirTag. Not at Marla's Street. The map showed steady pings marching down the highway, fresh updates every few minutes, then settling in an industrial area 2 hours away. I called Eli. He answered half asleep. "The van's gone," I said. "What?" "I left it in the driveway," he said. Keys were on the counter. I called the police non-emergency line. I told them the van was in my name and had been taken without permission by someone who wasn't authorized to drive it. I gave them the plate, VIN, and the live location updates from the AirTag. 20 minutes later, an officer called back. They'd stopped the van on the highway near the industrial park. Driver was Trent. He told them he had permission from Marla. The officer told him that didn't matter. The van wasn't hers. The registration and insurance were in my name, and he wasn't listed as a driver. With ownership unclear to them on the roadside and me not present, The officer arranged a tow to impound and gave me the case number. At the impound yard that afternoon, I checked the outside first. No dents, no scrapes. Inside, the back was loaded with spools of cable, buckets of bolts, and cardboard boxes stamped Drummond Facilities. Job site materials, not ours. Only the registered owner can get this out, the yard manager said, looking at my ID. Fees are due on release. We can take payment from anyone, but title has to match. Good, I said. Please keep it in the locked section. He nodded and rolled out a form. We'll inventory the cargo if you don't want it leaving with the vehicle. Please do, I said. It isn't mine. That evening, Trent texted, "Need the van. Materials in there. Time sensitive." I replied, "Impound has it. Contact them with the case number. They'll release after fees are paid to the yard." Next day, his boss called, Frank Drummond from Drummond Facilities. Said Trent told him I was holding company property hostage. The van was taken without permission, I said. It was lawfully impounded. The yard will release it after their charges are paid. You can call them directly. He didn't like that answer, raised his voice. I gave him the case number and the yard's phone and hung up. Texts and calls stacked up for 2 days. Trent, then Frank, then silence. Midweek, Frank called again. Calmer. "What are we looking at?" he asked. "Whatever the yard invoices," I said. "Towing, storage. Also, I'll refuel what was used. That receipt will be mine." He paid the yard directly that afternoon. They confirmed payment and said the van was cleared for release to me. I drove out after work with a gas can, signed the release, and asked the yard to offload the cargo into their secure storage under their posted rate. They photographed and inventoried each box and spool, logged it under the case number, and gave me the receipt. I topped off the tank at the closest station, stapled the fuel slip to the paperwork, and took the empty van home. At 4:45 p.m., 15 minutes before the yard closed for the weekend, I texted Trent. "Van's back with me. Your materials are secured at the yard under the case number. Office reopens Monday at 9. No reply. Eli told me later Trent got chewed out hard Monday morning. The project slipped 3 days. Some contract clause kicked in. Frank ate a penalty. I didn't lose sleep over any of it. I hadn't accused anyone of theft or tried to play cop. I'd just kept my name where it belonged, on the title, on the release, on the fuel receipt, and let everyone else deal with their own choices. By midweek, Frank called again. "Did you know about any side jobs he's doing?" Frank asked, voice low. "I'm his manager at Drummond. I need to know what I'm dealing with." "I know he took my van," I said. "Everything else is between you and your HR." He sighed and hung up. The kids kept to the routine. Exchanges stayed neutral and fast. I filed the impound paperwork behind the communications tab in the binder with a note. Unauthorized use, police stop, impound, release to owner. Third-party cargo inventoried by yard, owner paid fuel only. It read like a maintenance ticket. Problem reported, parts accounted for, system returned to service. 2 nights later, my old fishing buddy Carter stopped by. PI now. We sat on the balcony with cheap coffee. I gave him the short version. He listened and whistled. "You want me to peek at this guy?" he asked. "For what?" "Patterns," he said. "Side jobs, permits, anything that explains why he was hauling someone else's materials in your family van at dawn. Knock yourself out," I said. "But I'm not chasing him. I'm keeping my house running." He tapped the binder on the table. "Looks like you already are." The next morning, the AirTag pinged exactly where it should, on the hook by the door, quiet as a heartbeat. Monday started like any other. Coffee, lunches, drop-offs. I was tying my boots when Carter called. "Remember how you asked me not to start trouble?" he said. I didn't. I just looked where trouble already stood. He'd pulled permits and vendor filings. Small jobs were registered under Trent Maddox, or a cousin's LLC on days Trent was clocked at his employer. Materials orders didn't match the company's logs. Carter had screenshots, permit numbers, delivery slips, time-stamped emails. "Looks like side work," he said. "Sometimes on company time. Your van was the mule that morning." I wrote down dates and told him to hold the files. I wasn't filing anything. I was keeping my house running. By noon, Frank Drummond called. "The lot says the cargo's in their secure bay. We need it." "Pay their posted storage and retrieval," I said. "They'll release it to whoever gives the case number." "You're making this hard." "I'm following the process," I said. They didn't get the materials that day. Somebody finally paid Thursday. A truck picked everything up. Eli later heard the delay pushed a crew off schedule and triggered a clause, "No." That night a knock. "You Calvin?" "Yeah." It was Blake again. "This is what HR has. Anonymous tipster. You should see what people are already looking at." Why bring it to me? Because I'm next in line, and he's been running hot for too long, Blake said. You won't leak it, and it'll make you feel less crazy. Inside were copies, time clock anomalies, mileage reimbursements that didn't match routes, fuel slips stamped when he was supposedly at a desk, emails with vague client errand notes. Valerie Cross is coming next week, he added. Corporate VP at Drummond. She doesn't fly in for compliments. I slid the envelope into the binder and added one line to my index. Received duplicate HR packet. Originals with HR. The weekend ran smooth. Groceries, a thrift store couch that squeaked, Rowan's study group, Tessa's project, Eli's macro midterm. Monday, Carter checked in. Frank's fishing for the tipster. If he asks again, your answer is still true. You didn't call anyone. I didn't, I said. You're not in it, he said. You're near it. Midweek, Frank called. Do you know anything about a cousin's LLC? I know I'm due at a parent-teacher conference, I said. At school, Tessa's teacher said she was focused. Rowan said he'd stopped forgetting homework. Driving home, I thought how thin the wall is between someone else's chaos and your patch of order. Thursday, HR pulled Trent for clarifications. Blake texted, expense freeze and a photo of a cardboard box on a chair. I put my phone down and chopped onions for chili. That night, Marla idled at drop-off. No blame, just backpacks passed like batons. Tessa asked to finish a project at my place. Marla nodded and drove away. After dinner, Eli asked, Are you going to tell HR anything? No, I said. I'm not their witness. But you could be. I'm your dad, I said. That's the job. Friday morning, Blake called. They suspended him pending investigation, he said. Security's got his laptop. Valerie moved up her visit. Okay. You really didn't tip anyone? I didn't call a soul. Good. They're sure it came from inside. On the drive, Rowan asked if the schedule would change because of the other stuff. Nope, I said. School nights with me, weekends rotate. That's the system. Systems are good, he said. That afternoon, Dana confirmed a window for the final custody hearing. A couple months out, she said. Keep exchanges neutral, document cleanly. If the van mess resurfaces, we're ready. It's quiet, I said. Then it stays quiet. Saturday morning, Carter brought coffee. Valerie's itinerary leaked. HR in the morning, Frank at noon, regional controller after lunch. If they've got enough, they'll decide before she leaves. You really don't want me to send those screenshots? He asked. No, I said. If there's a fire, they lit it. We fixed a wobbly cabinet and argued chili ratios. The kids drifted in and out. Eli quizzed Tessa on lit terms. Rowan rebuilt a pencil sharpener and said he might be an engineer. When Carter left, the apartment smelled like coffee and cumin. That night, I updated the fridge calendar. Science fair Thursday, dentist Monday. I almost wrote Valerie, then erased it. Not my meeting. Before bed, the AirTag chimed when I brushed past. The van was where it should be. The kids were where they should be. The binder was closed. If the other story, audits, suspensions, cardboard boxes, was picking up speed, it could do it without my help. I turned off the kitchen light and listened to the fridge hum and the apartment breathing steady. For now, anyway. Monday would come soon enough. The final custody hearing was set for a Tuesday morning. Dana met me on the courthouse steps with her usual neat stack of folders and a pen tucked behind her ear. This is where the paper pays off, she said. Short answers, no opinions. Let the documents do the talking. Inside, Judge Franklin flipped through copies of my binder. Emails, permission notes, the impound report, the temporary orders from the status conference, pages whispering under his fingers. He had the same steady look as before, glasses low, questions measured. Mr. Mercer, he began, I see no violations of the protective order. You did not attend the residence without written permission. You use neutral exchange locations, and your communications are brief and task-focused. Yes, Your Honor, he turned to Marla's attorney. I also see several occasions where the mother failed to provide written permission, creating last-minute childcare problems on school mornings. Do you dispute that? Marla's attorney shifted. No, Your Honor. Then the judge raised the impound report. There's also the vehicle incident, the unauthorized operation by a third party, work materials involved. Mr. Mercer responded by calling the police and allowing the yard to follow its process. He did not confront anyone at the home. Correct? Dana. Correct? Marla stared ahead. If she had something to add, she swallowed it. Dana stood, calm as ever. We're requesting a formal schedule matching the temporary orders. Mr. Mercer has school nights for stability, weekends alternate, exchanges stay neutral, and no third-party involvement without written consent. Marla's attorney argued rigid and inflexible, but Judge Franklin raised a hand. Stability is paramount, he said. Mr. Mercer will have primary school week custody. Weekends alternate. Exchanges remain at a neutral location. No unrelated third parties without written consent from both parents. Communication stays in writing, limited to logistics. Schools and providers must be kept informed. Pen to paper. No speech, no gavel. The clerk printed copies and slid them across the table. Dana's mouth twitched. Not a smile exactly, but close. Outside, under a bright sky that made the courthouse steps glare, Dana handed me my copy in a manila folder. Stay exactly on this track, she said. If anything gets weird, call me first. And keep that binder boring. I can do boring, I said. Back at the apartment, Eli pinned the new schedule under the fishing lure magnet. Tessa circled science fair week. Rowan added, don't forget snacks beside his math team meeting. I emailed Marla the court order and calendar, attaching final orders. Calendar reflects orders. Nothing else. That afternoon, Blake texted, Valerie's here. Corporate VP with HR and the controller in tow. The kind of visit that made people stare at screens they weren't reading. Blake sent headlines all day. HR timeline of late arrivals and expense freezes, field use audit on trucks, impound delay costs with Frank explaining penalties to a silent room. I replied okay each time and set the phone down. Come, Abe. That evening, Marla pulled into the neutral lot, engine running. Backpacks changed hands. Dentist Monday, she said. Permission email sent. I nodded. Rowan waved. Taillights faded. Wednesday. Blake again. Valerie asked if he disclosed the relationship before or after Marla's suspension. Room went quiet. Controller wrote like every word mattered. Later, Carter showed up with coffee and a thin folder. Final piece, he said, tapping it. Property records and contractor permits tied Trent to side gigs that competed with his employer, some on days he'd billed to the company. Double dipping, Carter said. If corporate gets this, they'll scorch the earth. You send it? He shook his head. You said you're not throwing matches. I'm not tossing gasoline either. But Blake knows it exists. The right people will find it without your name anywhere near it. That night, Eli asked if things would really stay as they were now. School nights here? Weekends trading off? That's the order, I said, tapping the paper. Orders keep the gears from stripping. He nodded, eyes flicking to the binder on the shelf. Clean hands, huh? Clean hands, I said. Clean sink, too. Thursday brought more headlines from Blake. Removed from field assignments, demotion finalized, pay frozen for a year. No bonus. No company charge card. Valerie told Frank to reassign Trent to a desk under a new supervisor and to send a compliance memo to the whole region by close of business. Termination? I texted once. Not yet, Blake replied. HR says pending further review. Then, after a minute, but the fuse is short. At home, things stayed steady. Rowan asked for help with ratios. Tessa pinned her honor roll notice. Eli brought home a second-hand coffee table that barely wobbled. I printed next week's permissions, filed them behind the calendar, and left a note for Monday. Bring insurance card. The AirTag on the key hook blinked when I walked by. Van hadn't moved all day. Friday, Blake sent a photo of Trent's old office with a new nameplate. Strickland. Trent wasn't fired. He was hollowed out. Valerie met the controller one last time, then headed for the airport. If more comes in, we finish by policy, Blake texted. Carter called that night. They'll get the more soon enough. You ready for that? I'm ready to make dinner, I said, flipping the burner. Everything else is somebody else's job. We ate on the thrift store couch and watched a game on the second-hand TV. Between plays, Rowan asked if normal was going to stick. I looked around. Plates drying on the rack, the calendar dotted with black pen squares, the binder closed on the shelf. Yeah, I said. That's the point. The apartment hummed. Fridge, traffic far off, the steady sounds of a place holding. Somewhere else, meetings were being scheduled and emails were being drafted. Paper had a way of finding the desk it needed to land on. It didn't need me to carry it there. And for the first time since the tubs on the porch, that felt like enough. By Monday morning, the emails finished their crawl. Blake texted one line, security escort, and then a photo of a Drummond badge in a clear plastic bag. Trent was walked out while Drummond corporate watched from an office doorway. They didn't cheer. Corporate signs forms. Marla said nothing in the neutral lot that night. Engine idling, eyes down. Backpacks crossed the gap. Rowan asked if Trent was coming back. I don't know, she said, and drove off. The new order made our days predictable like before the tubs on the porch. I taped a fresh calendar by the fridge. School nights with me. alternating weekends, exchanges behind the grocery store. I sent Marla the PDF and a short note, attaching calendar reflecting final orders. See you Thursday at 5 o'clock. Eli called the apartment headquarters. He could read at the card table without anyone stomping through a fight. Tessa drifted toward us on test weeks. Rowan said the quiet let his thoughts park instead of crash. Carter brought coffee. The state contractor licensing board opened an inquiry, he said. Licensed contractors, expenses, the works. Valerie filed it under the company, so he can't cry grudge. Good, I said. You were never in it, Carter added. You're the plumb line. Marla kept the house 1 month, then moved to a smaller duplex off County Road 12. Eli said she told them the mortgage was too heavy on one income. Nobody mentioned Trent. He vanished like a nail behind a workbench. 2 clinks, then silence. Exchanges stayed civil. Logistics only. Dentist Tuesday. Tessa has a form. Backlot. Traffic's a mess. Not friendship, not war. I scanned forms into the binder under school/medical. Boring wins, Dana had said. Boring kept winning. Weeknights found a rhythm. I browned meat for tacos while Eli did economics. Tessa annotated poems. Rowan tried 3 ways to solve the same proof. After dinner, we did dishes. The AirTag chimed when someone bumped the key hook. A bell sang the van, and we were where we should be. 2 months later, Blake called, laughter tripping his words. Valerie froze his severance pending the board's review. Reimbursements reversed. Competition letter sent. He's radioactive. I had laundry cycling. The kids adjusted fast. Tessa asked to stay extra nights to study without the TV on. Rowan lobbied for apartment pancakes every Saturday. Eli mostly lived with me now, closer to campus, and the quiet paid you back. On a Saturday, Carter and I sat on the balcony with sodas. You never pushed a domino, he said. Gravity did the work. Clean hands, I said. Spring brought small proofs. Tessa made honor roll. Rowan's math team won regionals. Eli passed his final and lined up a paid internship at Nate's friend's garage. We dotted the calendar with a magnet. I sent Marla copies. FYI on awards and schedule. Pickup unchanged. At Eli's program commencement, Marla sat with her sister on one side, and I sat with Nate on the other. No tension, just cameras. Afterward, we traded a nod. Sometimes an adult nod is a paragraph. Carter texted, funny how it started with a protective order and ended with him out of everything. I typed back, nothing funny about court orders. But yeah, clean finish. The binder stayed on the top shelf, thick with emails, orders, receipts. Proof for an argument that might never come. I added lines to the index now and then. Honors notice filed. Internship paperwork done. Dentist follow-up scheduled. Maintenance logs. The machine running smooth. Marla kept her distance. No early calls. No surprise adults in the driveway. She sent permission emails on time, handled exchanges quickly, made the kids less jumpy. I didn't ask about her evenings. She didn't ask about mine. One Tuesday in May, I found the porch photo on my phone. The tubs. The locksmith's van. The sun flattening the siding. I almost deleted it, then dropped it into a folder labeled Start. Not a trophy. A diagram. That night, Rowan leaned on the balcony rail. Will it stay like this? Like what? Normal, he said. Quiet normal. I looked through the slider at the room. Thrift store couch that squeaked on the left, card table nicked by a wrench, calendar freckled with appointments, key hook blinking once. Eli reading. Tessa scrolling. The dishwasher purring. Yeah, I said. That's the point. And that was it. No big speeches, no revenge monologues, just paperwork, schedules, and one guy who thought he was smarter than everyone else watching his life fall apart piece by piece, while mine finally started feeling normal again. YouTube just dropped this new hype feature. If you're hooked on this story, smash that hype button. It tells YouTube this video deserves to blow up, and it keeps even crazier stories coming your way.